Hello and welcome to my channel. So my name is Emma and I live in Stockholm, Sweden. I've been living here for the past 8 to 10 years now, on and off. And in today's video, I'll talk about what it's like moving to Sweden and working in Sweden. I've seen comments on TikTok, on YouTube as well, where people share their own experience moving to Sweden, especially people that want to get into the career or into the labor market in Sweden. We share the challenges, the struggles, and how difficult it is. Actually, I remember on TikTok that a lady reached out to me saying, "Oh, that she's done living in Sweden. She's gonna move to another country because she's been living here for many years and trying to get a job. She's highly educated, trying to get into the labor market, but still nothing has happened for her. I would say I moved here for studies, and after my studies, I stayed here for family reasons, and later on, I got into the labor market. But if I tell you that it's easy, I would be lying to you. Getting into the labor market in Sweden is not for the faint-hearted. Sweden will have you starting afresh. Afresh means that to have you starting your career journey afresh. But this is not applicable to everyone, but it's common that when you move to Sweden, you'll start your career afresh. And what I would say is, when you are moving to Sweden, or if you've moved to Sweden and you're struggling to get into the labor market, patience and positivity is the key. So I will use my own example. I moved to Sweden for my master's, and after my master's, I tried to get into the labor market, but all to no avail. I tried everything possible, but before I get into my own story, I am in some female groups on Facebook, and people have come to ask, probably people who live in the US or other countries have come to ask, how easy is it to live in Sweden? And most people, or to get a job in Sweden, and most people who live in Sweden, or Swedish people or Norwegian people, are replying to these people that it's very easy to move to Sweden. You don't have to worry about anything. And then they tell them the language, don't worry, everybody speaks English, so don't worry, just move to Sweden, you get a job. Foul. That is not true. First, I have to clarify that not every job in Sweden requires you to speak Swedish, but most job in Sweden requires you to speak Swedish. Even if when it doesn't require you to speak Swedish, people that you will be working with will be speaking Swedish. So your colleagues will be Swedes, are mostly Swedish people, or people who live in Sweden who can speak Swedish. So they would mostly communicate or converse in Swedish. So when you don't know the language, you are lacking in that aspect. So when most often your contract probably would be in Swedish, you have to call the doctor or call the tax office. First thing they will say would be "hey" in Swedish. Then probably you might have to say, "Oh, I speak English, can you help me?" And if there is someone that speaks English there, then they will be able to help you. So if someone is telling you that you don't need language in Sweden, they're not 100% true, okay? One other thing that I hear or I've seen in those groups is that saying, "Oh, come to Sweden, it's easy to get a job." That's not true. Except if you are in the special degree, like if you are a tech person. Even not all techs. Some people in the tech field are still not. It's still easy for them to get a job in Sweden, but there are those special experience or expertise or talent that is not common in Sweden, probably those people, they are much more, it's very easy for them to get a job in Sweden than for people in other area or fields that is quite common. So if you're a lawyer, for example, and you're moving to Sweden with the hopes that you would get a job when you don't speak the language, forget that. Except you plan to learn the language, okay? If you are in the medical line and you don't know how to speak Swedish, I don't know how many private clinics that would employ you. And even if when they employ you, there are not that many private clinics that will employ everyone. And most of your patients or your clients are people who speak Swedish. So you need to be able to speak Swedish. So when I moved to Sweden, I didn't understand I didn't even understand how important the language is. After my degree went well, but then when I started to look for jobs, that was when I understood that, oh, wait a minute, even if you have a PhD, have all of that, but if you don't know Swedish, then it won't be very easy for you to get into the job market. Not just the job market, in other areas that you want to have access to. It might be easier, but in the job market. Okay, I would use myself as an example. After my degree, I tried to find job. Most of the jobs that I would see would always say flytande engelska och svenska. So fluent Swedish and English, that you're fluent in Swedish and fluent in English in the job description. So I did try my best. My Swedish was not that good enough at that time. I tried my best, applied for job, and immediately they call me for interview. It's Swedish. They're speaking Swedish. They want to interview me in Swedish. And knowing that I wasn't fluent in Swedish, most often I didn't get the job. Not even most often. I didn't get those jobs. Okay. Because I will explain to them, isn't there any way for me to get to just have this job? I remember even getting a healthcare job. I practiced my Swedish, I wrote it down, and I went for interview, and they liked me, and I told them that I was ready to be fluent in Swedish while doing the job. And they interviewed me and gave me that job. Within weeks of giving me that job, my colleagues reported that, oh, her Swedish is not good, it's very risky to have her in that role, all of that. And at the end, they terminated my contract. Okay, that was how I lost that job, to say how important it is to learn Swedish if you want to work here. And learning Swedish isn't that easy, but it's something that you have to put interest in. Like, you have to do quite more for you to be able to learn the language. In my next video, I would share more. I don't want to make this video long. I want it to be short. It's almost entering 8 minutes. But in my next video, I will share more about what you have to bear in mind when you are moving to Sweden for job, especially when you want to move to Sweden with your partner, and then when you arrive, you want to start working. I will share that in my next video, because I'm also a mentor for educated professionals who have moved to Sweden and who are trying to get into the labor market. So I mentor them, and so far most of them have gotten jobs. So I hope you would stay put and look out for my next video. And please subscribe, and thank you so much. Thank you for the nice comments. I love it here. I'm loving it here, and I'll be here to share my experience or guide people on how to navigate life in Sweden. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Mwah.